go live button in 3, 2, 1.
Okay.
All right. It says you're live now.
Why is everyone so bad at this?
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Are we currently live on YouTube?
According to YouTube, we are live.
Oh my God.
Welcome into the Nontendo Podcast. My name is Wood. We have a very exciting guest today who we will bring out in just a minute. But sitting with me, Izzy.
Hi.
Oh my God, we're like in the seats together today.
Yeah.
Has this ever happened?
No,
Outside
never.
of a
I don't
sponsor
think- yeah, I
read?
don't think-
We do a round of applause. That's
Yay.
okay. That's okay. You don't have to clap. The guest was like clapping. Okay, roll the intro.
I'm so nervous.
Why?
I don't know.
You did this last week.
But without anybody in the room.
Yeah, you're being watched. We have like 4 people watching you right now.
That's I'm used to it. It's fine.
So we wanted to start me and E just quickly because last week's episode was a deep and meaningful. We got into some nitty gritties about the show and everything that we've experienced so far working on the show together for the last 8 episodes.
Yes.
And there was so much positive feedback from everybody, and we took it all in. I don't know about you, but I read so many of the comments, and for once, they were fun and a joy to read.
Yeah.
Both on Patreon and in the Discord, and then, of course, all of the YouTube comments. And I just wanted to go over kind of the thoughts and the vibes of what everybody felt.
Yeah. Don't worry about that sound. I'm literally about to turn it off. It's the heat. It's fine. It's fine.
Why does the heat sound like
It's
there's
screaming.
water rushing over the top of us?
Well, that's exactly what's happening right now. Don't judge.
Okay.
It's fine.
What I appreciated most, I think, is that everybody did seem to be on the same page as us.
Yeah,
Just kind of vibing with everything that without having to reiterate it, everything that we were going on about. I pulled a few comments that I thought were pretty poignant. One was from Skiddies, if we have that one somewhere. That's Wolfden. We can read that one.
Yeah, you said 1, 2, 3, so I just went in order of whatever you had.
I said 1, 2, 3.
You had 1, 2, 3, so I figured that was the order.
You did good.
I did production. Yes.
All right, this one's a fun one. This is from Wolfden Dad.
Who's that?
That is literally Bob's dad.
I know.
And he actually had, for once, not for once. Usually he's memeing, but this is actually constructive criticism. Best thing to do with the guest is make sure you control the questioning and give them time to answer. Always be sure you listen to their answers. It's also a good idea to go solo with E as your co-host, more as your subscribers can get more of your views and ease into a new format. Good luck and keep the faith, Wolfden. By the way, where is Bob?
I guarantee you, Bob just wrote that for his dad.
No, that was definitely his dad. Because it's so broken too.
It's so dad.
It's so dad-like.
Yeah.
Good luck and keep the faith.
Great. I love it.
Then who's next? Let me see who 2 is before I read 2. Skitties. Okay. You could always start the episodes talking for 10, 15 minutes or so to get the personalized normal podcast updates out of the way. That's what we're actually trying today.
Yeah.
I listen. We're taking it's not even criticism. We're taking the constructive feedback.
Yeah. I think that's exactly what it is.
Trying it out.
Yeah, it's
good. We'll see.
I think it's a smart thing to do because it gives the guest a little of understanding of what the show is.
Are you getting an understanding for what the show is?
Okay, cool. He
Got a
thumbs up. Yeah,
thumbs
we're
up,
good. There's no one back there. It just gives everyone kind of like a chill thing. And also, I feel like it's nice to have that and it eases into the show.
Definitely.
You know? So it's
I
cool.
agree. Oh my God, I agree.
Oh my God.
This is working so well.
Thanks. Thank you so much. I have long hair. It's like he never left.
And then MC said, and I thought this was an interesting take because it's someone relatively new to the podcast. They came here because of Austin John. So they never saw the Bob iteration of all of this.
Oh, interesting.
He also recognizes me for some YouTube shorts, which is interesting because I've only made like
When
2.
does that happen? Are you playing the show? What's happening? You're
Playing the show. Yeah, the show
great.
started playing on my
We
phone.
need those views,
Sorry
guys.
about that. Come on now. I've never watched a Bob podcast episode, so I have no reference to what it used to be. I'll say I really enjoyed Wood as a host and personality. I've watched 3 to 4 full episodes so far, and I'm interested to see what happens next. Hope someone with a neutral perspective saying they enjoy the show helps.
That helps a lot,
Yeah,
actually. That's
it actually really
surprisingly
does.
helpful in the best way.
You know, it's kind of tough now because we did, just so the guest knows as well, we did like 90, 80, 84 episodes or something with
with Bob.
With Bob, an actual other co-host. And then he left the show. But at some point, I mean, we're like 10 episodes in now to this new version. At some point, there'll be more of this.
Yeah.
Or there'll be at least enough that like there'll be enough new people that don't even know. They'll go back and be like, "Who's this angry guy that used to be in all the episodes?"
I don't like it. It's scary. Max was actually telling me that there were some people commenting saying, "Who's Bob?"
Who's Bob?
Yeah, not where's Bob, which is
Yeah,
I don't know if that's a meme.
That is funny.
For the most recent clip, I did Life After Bob. That's what I called it. And there's like 6 or 7 comments being like, "Who's Bob?"
I did see that. There was like a short that popped up, and Max called it Life After Bob, and I was like,
It was good.
It was good, but I also thought about being Bob and seeing it.
I tagged him.
Oh, you did?
It's good. It's a good time. He's probably in the chat right now too.
So, I mean, that was really, I just want to say thank you to everybody for the positive feedback. There was suggestions all over the place, but for the most part, it was all in line with what we were saying, vibing with the general idea of where we want to take the show and what we're doing with the show. And yeah, I just appreciate everybody watching and being a part of it. And we're going to keep going, and we're going to see how it goes.
I feel so weird being here. I feel dirty being here. I don't know. I feel like I shouldn't be here.
You wore, in the last thing we did, you wore like a tanned yellow shirt that had like black.
Well, no, so...
And it kind of looked like you were naked.
So
it looked like you were bare-chested.
I was wearing a weird like pink skin tone tie-dye. And someone in the chat goes, "Dude, is that his chest hair? What is happening right now?"
It kind of looked like your chest hair.
And I was like, "Leave me alone." I mean, like, I'm cool with it. It looked good, right? Come on. That's all that I cared about.
Oh, I wish it was your chest hair.
Do you want to see?
Yeah.
No. Bonus
Patreon. Is there anything that you want to add to any of that?
No, I think we got a lot of it figured out last week just on the conversation, and mentioning of what we were trying to figure out for this show before we came back. Yeah, being that it's a totally live show now, and us trying to just make it work. I think because the chat agrees that this is a good format, but maybe space out the guests and do like a me and you thing. I think that works on like a retention level, because on a YouTube level, like, it is a tough thing to do with a new guest every week. But I think what we're doing makes sense. I like this. This is cool.
I know. I like
to be on camera.
I'd like you to sit in here more.
I'll sit. Listen.
That way, when I look at you and wink, you're not as far. and the wink doesn't have to travel as far.
It's not that far.
It's not that
it's
far.
Like 6 feet.
Yeah.
We're not that far away. It's cool. I'm good. Yeah.
All right. Well, we have a lot to talk about today.
Yes.
I want to talk about a ton of actual Nintendo news, but also I want to talk about our guest and meet our guest. Yes. So maybe we should.
Maybe we do the. We
throw a little. Why don't you tell them about the Patreon?
Yeah, Patreon.
Oh, yeah. What?
The ad?
There's just a Patreon ad.
Yeah. Oh, baby, you.
You got what I need.
I'm so fucked up today.
G'day, mates. This episode, as usual, is supported by the Patreon. Why
are you recording?
Oh,
I didn't. I'm sorry.
It's supported by the Patreons. And today we have a special announcement for the Patreons during the bonus episode that I can't talk about here. It's super secret, super special, but it is in regards to merch.
Oh.
That is all I will say. There is something special happening that only Patreons will have access to.
Okay.
I'm not going to say what it is. It's a limited drop, and you have to be a Patreon to find out what that is.
And how do you become said Patreon?
Well, you go to patreon.com, or you click the links below, and you look up the Nontendo Podcast, and you subscribe for as little as $2 a month.
Only $2?
For as little as...
That's a steal.
Yeah, and if you want to do, like, let's say, I don't know, throw a number out there, 5. You get all the bonus episodes we've done. 94 bonus episodes, including today's, which we haven't done yet.
Oh, my God.
I know so much. There's one where Bob and I played Valorant.
Is it really?
Yeah, that was a bonus. It was the worst one.
That's ridiculous.
It wasn't good, but you can go watch it. A ton of other rewards over there on Patreon, like getting your name in the credits of these episodes, discount on all of our merch, a monthly behind the scenes, which we just uploaded one last month, and the new one is coming soon, I promise. And yeah, so go support the show.
Support us,
We'd be nothing without you.
please.
Quite literally.
Yeah, for real.
Okay, thanks.
Bye.
And introducing our guest today, Daniel Mullins, game developer extraordinaire.
Thank you. Thank you.
My most requested guest to get on the show, other than general YouTube personalities, was a game developer. People really wanted me to sit down with a game dev.
Hell yeah.
And I reached out to the people at Devolver Digital to see if they had any contacts with anybody over there. And you were the first person to say you'd come in and
Sweet.
fly all the way in from, you said Vancouver?
Yeah. I mean, it's my privilege to come here. I've only been in New York once when I was a kid, and so I don't really remember it. And so it's kind of like I'm here for the first time, and it's a cool place to visit. So
You're staying for a minute, right?
Yeah, a week.
Yeah.
Actually, the guy who does the music and sound for all my games also lives here.
Oh,
so
really?
I've been hanging
That's
out with him.
so
Yeah,
cool.
it's a good. It's kind of like the Daniel Mullins Games Company retreat because
Oh my God.
there's not very many people who I work with, and he's the major one. So
I love
here
that.
We are. Yeah.
Yeah, no, there's been a ton of people that have come out to do the show and they take it as an excuse to explore New York or catch up with other creative people that they work
very
with
good
in New York.
excuse.
So
Yeah.
I'm really glad it worked out for you too.
Yeah.
All right, let's talk about some of the games that you made so
go.
people know. So the reason why I was so excited when her name's Clara, the rep that I speak to through, Clara, through Devolver Digital, they said that you were interested is because of the game Inscription.
Absolutely.
Inscription is one of my favorite indie games of all time.
Well, thank you.
I don't know if you've seen, but I have this series called eShop Games Worth Buying, and that was one of them. And then last year when I did my 10 favorite eShop games so far, out of the 300 games that I had reviewed on the eShop, yours was in the top 10.
Well, thank you. I think I do recall a friend being like, "Hey, look, check this out." You know? So I vaguely remember that, and I appreciate the high praise there.
It's an incredible experience. And going back and looking at your other games and stuff, you've made a lot of games in the past.
Yeah. That Inscription was my third major commercial game.
Yes.
Yeah.
The other two being The Hex, I'm assuming,
right.
and Pony Island.
That's correct.
Yes. And you have Pony Island 2 coming out
Yes, Pony
soon.
Island 2 Panda Circus is in development. The release date is still fairly far in the future, but I'm working on it. Yeah.
The fun thing that I'm starting to learn about you and your games is to expect the unexpected.
That's correct.
You have this very weird and wacky way of narratives and telling a story, and in your game design. The two examples there is, we'll talk about Inscription as I love it so much, but Pony Island. I mean, what was the name of the sequel? You just said Pony Island 2 Panda Express?
Almost. Pony Island 2 Panda Circus.
Oh, Panda Express. You know why I said that? Because this guy, I have a friend, my friend from Australia is with me. I don't have a camera over there. Hi, say hi, Sep. I don't know if you heard that. He really wants to get Panda Express. The last few days, he's like, he wants to try the orange chicken. Which I tried telling him.
I can see the appeal though. It's also not something they might have it in Canada, but it's not very common. And it's like the buffet style, right?
Yeah.
It's like there's an appeal.
Have you ever
to
had
that.
it?
I think I have at some point.
It's just, I don't know. It just don't taste like, you get the orange chicken, you get the Mongolian beef, it'll taste the same.
It's the best mall Chinese food.
Yeah. Okay. Anyway, sorry, Panda Circus. You hear a name, Pony Island 2 Panda Circus. You kind of picture something, I guess.
Yeah, something.
But it's not really. It's not. I mean, the tagline for both Pony Island 1 and 2 is it's not a game about ponies.
Yeah.
How would you describe those games to somebody who is looking to play them?
Yeah, I had a friend once describe Pony Island, and I think I actually used it in the marketing copy as a suspense puzzle game, which is a phrase I hadn't heard before, but I kind of liked that. There's a lot of puzzles in it, but also it's suspenseful in the sense that weird stuff happens. And I hesitate to call it horror, although a lot of people do, because I don't find it that scary, and I don't really try to make it that scary. I think what people are picking up on is a sort of creepy or macabre atmosphere, but there's nothing that jumps out at you and tries to terrify you or anything. So I think the suspense puzzle game is a pretty good start. And then there's also the side-scrolling parts of the game, which don't quite make sense to call a puzzle, but they're in there. And then there's the weirder puzzles, which are like the abstract, takes on PC UI, and you're clicking a button and it falls apart, and then you try to patch it back together.
Not fourth wall breaky, or is it?
I don't know.
Kind of.
That Pony Island is probably the biggest has that aspect of my games the most, the fourth wall thing. Yeah, it definitely does, because there is a character in the game who directly addresses you as the player.
Okay.
And I think there were so many paradoxes and like questions from fans around like, how does that really work, and like how does this character relate to the other characters in the game, that I kind of moved away from that a little bit with my other games. But they do all have that kind of, they do address you as the player, I'd say like a fair amount.
Yeah, Inscription does a lot of, it's again, fourth wall breaking isn't the word I'm looking for, but where it starts as a card game.
Yes.
And you almost just think it's a card game, just like a roguelike deck builder or something. And then suddenly things start to get very surreal, which I love so much. Like you start realizing that some of the cards are maybe moving a little, and then they start talking to you. Then you realize there's something else going on here. And then suddenly you're able to leave the card table and walk around the room that you're in. And there's all puzzles all around the room that you have to solve in between doing this whole roguelike puzzle game. And then it's hard to talk about any of your games without actually getting super spoily. Yeah. But that element alone, what you see in most of the marketing, isn't even really a majority of the game. It goes in a completely different direction altogether. It's an incredible mind-bending journey.
Thank you. I'm glad it worked.
I mean, it not only worked for me, but I mean, all three of the games that we just talked about, Hex, Pony Island, and Inscription, they're all 10 out of 10 on Steam. Yeah. Overwhelmingly positive reviews. Booming indies on the Steam, but also I'm assuming on Switch does very well. Yeah. Hopefully I played a part of the Inscription part of that. Yeah. Pony Island and Hex are not on Switch, right?
That's correct. Yeah, they're not. I would love them to be on Switch and console, but it's a lot of work. Mainly because I tend to design them with point and click controls in mind. Yeah. And then to convert that to a gamepad kind of control paradigm is a lot of work, and it was a ton of work for Inscription, but you know, it's harder to justify it for the older games, maybe.
I can see that. What about Pony Island 2? Because
yeah, that's a good question. Here I go again, making a point and click mouse game. I don't know why I do it. I just gravitate toward that, and then it'll be an immense amount of work to bring it to console. Again, I would like to. You know, I really like how the Steam Deck has that kind of thumb touch panel. And
I was gonna say
maybe the new Switch would. If they had some kind of feature like that, it could make a point and click control scheme make more sense on it. So I'm interested in what the newer hardware is going to be like, because the game is still a ways off. So
yeah, that would be interesting actually. I never thought about Nintendo adding a trackpad. I don't think they would. Maybe like
who knows,
back touch maybe.
Yeah.
I don't know if you could implement that somehow.
Anything to give that fine control, so you're not like using an analog stick to move a mouse around, which is awful.
Yeah, that trackpad, I was going to bring that up. That's kind of awesome on the Steam Deck for games like yours. Yeah. I recently, have you played Space for the Unbound, or you've seen that game?
No,
it's another indie game. He has the same developer. I met him at PAX recently, and I played his game Test, and I put that on my Steam Deck, and I played the whole thing with the trackpad. It's point and click, and it works surprisingly well. I've really come around on the trackpad.
Games like that. Yeah, it could be a little awkward. You have this thumb claw thing, and your hand can get a little sore, but you know, it's pretty good.
Okay, there's two things I want to ask you a question, but before I move on from Pony Island 2, because I haven't played it, it does look like you've taken, and I might be wrong, inspiration from Inscription and put it into Pony Island, because it looks like there's a lot more of like the first person like 3D environments in that game now too.
You're definitely picking up what I'm laying down.
Yeah, I'm watching, I'm looking, I'm excited. I follow you now. After Inscription, I'm gonna follow everything you do.
I appreciate that. Yeah, I mean, I think of it more as just my fourth game, and like whatever ideas I've been kicking around, it's like a continuation of that. It's a sequel quite loosely, I would say, and in some ways it is a continuation of Inscription. Especially in terms of like the 3D versus 2D switching, and so I think you're right there, and hopefully people pick up on that too.
Oh, if I did, I'm sure they will. So the question I want to ask you is, to make games like this, they seem so complicated, and they seem so, the turns and twisters that go into the narrative without adding filler or fluff, or to keep every little twist and turn so exciting. Where does all that come from? Where does your specific style of game design originate from?
Well, I think it maybe originates from the quick and dirty way that I do game jams. And so like, you might know that Inscription was originally a very small game jam game where
Yeah.
I had 48 hours and you get a theme and you have to make a game in that time.
It was just the card based.
Yeah, it was called
section.
Sacrifices Must Be Made. It had a surprising number of like the ideas that made it through. Like it had Leshy's googly creepy eyes. It had the first person perspective with the cards. It was more about the like body mutilation than anything. Like 'cause the theme of the game jam was sacrifices must be made. And the idea that kicked it off was like, okay, it's a card game, but what if you have to sacrifice more than the cards? Oh, your hand, and then you cut off your hand, and now you can't hold your cards, and oh, you cut out your eye, and now you can't see half the playing field. And that was the kind of idea that guided that original one. And so to go, I guess, back to your original question is I kind of sometimes treat my day-to-day work as a game jam where I just smash things together fast and quick, and then later we'll find out if they work. But for me, it's important to just have momentum and not to be like sitting there like pondering, is this idea gonna work, and thinking it over and overthinking
just
everything.
go for it.
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah, it's a harder thing to do in games because there's such a barrier between your idea and the thing becoming reality.
Yeah.
And I think I have the advantage of, because I do a lot of the aspects myself, like the design, the programming, the writing, the pixel art, I can kind of get a fully formed idea by myself without involving others. And that'd be very tricky if I had to like have some stupid idea and like, okay, now these 50 people need to come together right now and let's see if it works, you know? So I think that helps me do that approach.
Yeah, you just work on your own flow.
Yeah.
Who
And then-
does...
oh, sorry.
I was gonna say, who does the 3D environments for you?
Yeah, so that's been a newer thing. Pony Island, there was a little bit of 3D in it, and I used like asset packs that I bought online. And then the Hex, I dabbled in it a little more. And then with Inscription, I really brought on like some really talented 3D artists.
Yeah.
There's a guy named David Hageman who has done most of the iconic assets in Inscription that you would think of, like the character of Leshy, Grimora, the 3D characters, and then like the really beautiful props like the scales and the bell and stuff. That was all his work, and I would give him this embarrassingly crude doodle of like, this is it, like it looks like a kid drew it, and then he like takes that and runs with it.
That's awesome.
Yeah, so like you'd think that like there was some like detailed concept art, but the guy like Da Vinci sculpts something out of, and he's doing some more amazing stuff. But then I can't neglect the other artists who worked on the game. There's a guy who's a personal friend of mine who comes from the world of indie comics, and he's kind of like switching back into games, and he did a lot of the environment art. He did like the PO3's factory and Inscription, and a lot of the stuff in the trailer is his work. And then then I had some other people who were like part-time contractors who chipped in here and there. And I kind of like that approach of no one's really working full-time on the thing. They're kind of just like doing other stuff. They're freelancers, and then I'll send them a crude doodle and then they'll Da Vinci it up, and then we'll, you know.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
And you get to see it all come together.
Yeah. I mean, that's the biggest dopamine rush for me, is when I don't have to lift a pencil and then something magically appears and I'm like, holy shit! And I just
that's my
put
life.
it in the game.
That's what I try and do the most of. What can I pay somebody to do so that I don't have to? Hi. You mentioned that was such a cool thing about the game where you sacrifice body parts. That carried over to Inscription.
It did,
that was one of the things that initially hooks you, is you're playing for teeth.
Yeah.
Like every time you win points, or the other guy, Leshy, wins points. Teeth go into this scale, and then whoever's scale is tipping more in their favor wins. And then while you're playing through this roguelite, you might find items like pliers. So if you're maybe losing and you're behind, you can yank out one of your own teeth and kind of tip the scales in your favor. Yeah, it's very like, it's very dark and gruesome. I mean, God, again, it's hard to talk about any of it without ruining it. I mean, you mentioned pulling out an eyeball.
Yeah.
But there is a part in the game that you can't really get past unless you kind of pay attention to the room and the surroundings and the clues that are given to you. And there's something you have to do with an eyeball that involves pulling one out. It's very unique. It's very cool. I wish I could talk about it. I had the same issue when I reviewed it.
Yeah.
I did a very light review, and then I was like, look, you just got to trust me. You got to buy this, because if the more I tell you, the more it ruins, and every little discovery is so special.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Yeah, I wanted it to feel like I didn't want to fully trick the player to think that like, oh, it's just a deck building roguelike. I kind of wanted to hint that something is going to happen, right?
Yeah.
Like these cards are talking and they're saying some cryptic mystery to you. Like you got to hang in here because this isn't something where you're just going to do 100 runs and then get bored of it, right? Like,
yeah, the ironic thing is, though, you built this game out that is not a roguelike deck building game. That does become so much more, but people loved the deck building part of it so much. And it truly, I did. As soon as I left it, I missed it.
Yeah.
That you ended up creating a separate DLC. Is it free?
it is free, yeah.
It's free, which is a fleshed out version of the card building roguelike deck. Like you just made that.
Yep. That was the #1 request. It was a perfect meeting of like, it's the most demanded thing, but also the thing that's like most reasonable to accomplish.
Yeah.
It wasn't as much work as some of the other things, which was like, we want Grimora and Magnificus, the other scribes in the game that didn't get fully featured 3D sections. They were like, we want DLC where their whole 3D world is
That's a lot.
imagined. And like,
That's a lot.
another year or two, you know? Like
Yeah.
but this was like, okay, you know, if we already have Leshy's cabin, just, you know, it wasn't as much of an ask, and so I enjoyed making.
Did you bring that to Switch?
Yeah, it's on there too. Yeah.
Oh, it is?
Yep.
So you just load up the game and it's an option?
Yeah, well, it's you got to beat the game first. You got to fully
okay.
beat it, and then it unlocks. I think there's. I can't recall if we ended up actually getting like a cheat code to activate it from the get go. I actually don't think we did that, which is unfortunate. There's no way to shortcut to it.
I mean, you got to earn it.
Yeah,
I'm fine with earning it.
Yeah.
Well, so people should go and wish list Pony Island 2 on Steam, I assume.
They probably.
What does that do now? Does that help?
That's a good question.
Because you always see devs are like wish list our game on Steam.
Yeah.
Does that help?
That's a good question. I mean, like to fully answer, you might need to understand the bowels of the Steam like algorithm,
Yeah.
right? Like, and I suspect, I'm pretty sure that they display the game in the new and upcoming section of the storefront is based on wishlist. So I think, you know, having high wishlist will put you higher on that list, which is a very prominently featured list. And then of course you want the initial burst of sales on day one of the release. And so the more people who wishlisted it, the more potentially sales you have on day one, which will influence the algorithm as it proceeds into further days. So I loosely understand the importance of it, but I don't know the nuts and bolts of it.
It's so funny hearing you explain trying to battle the Steam algorithm as a YouTuber who constantly is trying to battle the YouTube algorithm. You don't really think about game devs having to try and do the same thing. At least my videos, I just throw something together in a week. You're working on this for years, and then you got to battle an algorithm.
Yeah, I know, it's crazy. Yeah,
I would like to imagine that at this point that you would have a little special space on there after.
Yeah, I mean, I think the algorithm is not like completely dumb, right? Like if it sees, I assume,
so it's not like YouTube. Okay.
Yeah, maybe not as much. Like because if it's a developer who made this game Inscription that has a lot of sales, then surely this makes sense to push, right? The next game from that person. So I would think that I have some grace from the previous games. But as for like a special like Valve is like someone at Valve is like, oh, let's do a big banner for him. I'm not sure about that. Maybe we'll see. But
I will write a letter.
okay,
I want it to
I'll
happen.
certainly try. Like I'll write a letter too. I'll ask. But they've got some big games on there. Yeah.
Okay. We can keep talking. I find this very interesting. The whole game development side of making especially like indie games, which I've fallen so in love with, your creative process. We can circle back around to it. I definitely want to talk about it more. At some point, I want to bombard you and ask you if I can voice act in one of your games.
We'll talk.
We'll talk. Yeah. Okay. And, but we do have, the title of this episode is about Nintendo are upgrading the Switch dock.
Okay.
And if we don't talk about that, people will be mad at us.
Yeah, we have to.
So we have to do the co-hosting part of this show. And there's a bunch of other stuff that I want to talk about, like Nintendo doing Virtual Boy VR again. Did you see that?
No, actually.
Oh, I'll show you.
Yeah, let's.
So is there anything else you want to talk about in that space before we move on?
No,
Or you're
I think I've said more than enough.
Okay. We can definitely circle back around because I find it really interesting.
Yeah.
All right. Can we take a look at this doc? Because I put it in the title. You're fine. We can read that again. So Nintendo, there you are. Nintendo patent may hit at Switch dock improvements. I actually found this really interesting. So something that we've had happen a lot recently is Nintendo are patenting all these like weird and wacky things.
Yeah.
There was recently we took a look at one that was a dual screen Switch-like console where the screens come apart. Did you see that?
No, that's exciting.
You can like
though.
take them
the return
apart.
of the
yeah.
DS, but
It's interesting. There was kind of like pretty much assumed that Nintendo was just patenting that and they're probably not going to make it. But I'm on a tangent now. There's actually a little leak rumor recently. YouTube tweeted out a poll, the official YouTube account, that said, which one of these are you most likely to buy? And it said Xbox, PlayStation, Nintendo Attach. What's a Nintendo Attach?
a poor name if that's
Yeah,
truly
I mean, that's what a lot of people said. But you got Attach, you got 2 screens that are coming apart.
Yeah.
Interesting.
That's interesting.
But we have another patent that's been filed recently. You can scroll all the way down and we can see it. I've already read all of this, so I can summarize it. So you have a Switch, I'm assuming?
Yeah.
You know how the dock, the back of it is like kind of set in stone and the cords come out one side?
Yep, totally.
It's kind of restricting in the sense you can really only put it on one side of your TV. Otherwise, your cords kind of have to bend and wrap the other way.
I've seen this.
So this is Nintendo kind of patenting a solution to this. Okay. That block there is a swivel. So it swivels around and then you have 2 openings on the left and right where the cords can go out either side.
That's just smart.
It's very smart. It should have been that way from the beginning. So I don't know if there's... the actual article suggests that this is just a patent and it's, again, probably not something Nintendo would do. But we are going into this next gen next year with Nintendo Switch 2.
Yeah.
And we are looking at what could be the new dock for the Nintendo Switch 2. Now, if they released that, let's say they released it for $60 right now for Switch, would you buy it?
I mean, my cords are like, they're not so bad that I would like jump for that maybe, but I also have, I don't know if this is illegal to mention, but I have like a third-party dock that's like very small and like it's portable too.
It's interesting you say that because this article actually says that's what this is trying to address. The sheer amount of third-party docks that are being sold because of how restricting the initial one is. Who made that dock that you have?
I forget actually. It was actually, I got it in desperation because the Switch port for Inscription took a little longer than we thought, and I had this trip planned, and I was traveling, and we were still cracking bugs, and there was this really bad bug I had to figure out, and I was like, oh shit, I gotta be able to test this right now on my vacation because like we are, going live with this thing soon.
Yeah.
So I bought this dock, and I forget where I got it and what it was, but then I came to like, oh, this thing's actually sweet. It has like a little magnetic piece that comes off, and then sits at the back, so that it props the Switch up.
Oh, okay.
And then, but when you pack it back together again, it's just like a very small, compact cube. And so it's great if you're gonna like travel somewhere and then like plug it into your hotel TV or something.
Yeah, I think I bought a bunch of docks for my videos.
Yeah.
I think the smallest one I bought was like this big, and it literally it's a plug. It goes into the wall, and then it has the HDMI out and the power, and you just plug everything into that. So it's technically like a wall outlet.
Right.
But
Okay,
it's
that's
like
handy,
this big, yeah. I have a hard time trusting any of the third-party docks, though.
Yeah.
Because when the Switch launched, so many third-party docks were frying Nintendo Switch consoles.
Okay.
And they just terrify me so much.
Yeah.
But now they all say, like, won't burn your house down.
Yeah.
You're supposed to trust them. But
Yeah.
I don't know if I should.
Yeah. Once you've been burned.
I mean, I was reviewing a dock once recently that I got from like This is different because I got it from like AliExpress. But I like plugged the Switch in and immediately it reset and turned off. And then wouldn't turn on for a while.
Yikes.
And I was like, okay, I'm not using that dock ever again. It shorted it out, but then like it came back on eventually. It just needed a minute. Yeah. Can you bring up the Virtual Boy? Did you have a Virtual Boy? Did you see a Virtual Boy?
It was kind of always a mythical thing. I've never seen it in real life. I've only heard of it.
Okay. Then you haven't seen this from
No.
IGN a few days ago.
I don't think so.
Okay.
Let's
take a look
go.
at it. I want to get your thoughts on this. Sure.
Oh, you know what? I did hear about this. You
did?
This. Yeah. But let's.
Okay. For audio listeners, we are looking at a very well-made trailer of what is potentially Nintendo Switch's new AR, VR.
That's pretty cool. Like, I'm surprised that they wouldn't want to, make this a feature of the new Switch 2, right?
That is surprising.
Yeah.
So that's Luigi Mansion 4. Just vacuuming in the room.
It looks so bulky on her head.
That's scary.
Are they like? What are they suggesting that it's not advisable to drive a car?
No, you drive with it. Yeah.
So is there going to be another Wood Mario Kart video then? IRL?
That would be awesome. That was an April Fool's joke.
That makes sense.
Yeah. Did at any point you catch on to that?
I originally was like, it has been April Fool's lately, but like the way you guys are approaching it was in seriousness, where I was like, all right,
sorry. I tried to clue. I was like a few days ago.
It's not like absolutely unbelievable, right?
No,
like,
I mean,
obviously
not-
that was a very bizarre like ad for it, but like it's feasible to split the screen in two.
I mean,
and-
it's pretty clever. I mean, it's
yeah.
essentially what the 3DS used to do with the camera,
Right,
Where
yeah,
you had
yeah.
the augmented reality that nobody used.
Yeah, and I've seen there's like the Google Cardboard product that you fold up and then just slide your Android into it. And
Oh.
then so like
That sounds like Lego.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, that was like the first Lego ever.
That was a big thing for a minute. It was like the VR phones, where you just get your phone and you slot it into some $20 plastic thing that you
Yeah,
buy
yeah.
at Best Buy, and then you just get VR in your
Google
phone.
made that too, though. Google had it with the little remote.
Yeah.
So you just put it and had like a little strap. And you just wear.
Well, thankfully, we don't have to do that anymore because we have the Apple Vision Pro,
Okay.
which we all have,
Cool.
and we all bought for $4,000.
I can't tell if you're.
No, I'm kidding. Do you have one?
No, but
Okay.
I'm interested in it. I have heard good things.
I've heard mixed. I would check it out. I would try it, but I'm not spending $4,000 on
It's
it.
a big, it's a bit steep.
That's a big
It's bit
ask.
steep. Yeah.
There was a ton more actually April Fool's announcements that I thought would be fun to look through. I feel like, did you feel like April Fool's now, people are so mad about it before it even happens that people are scared to do April Fool's?
Yeah.
Because other years, I just feel like we had such crazy April Fool announcements.
Yeah. I do recall an IGN. This was like back in the day. They had like an IGN Legend of Zelda live action film.
Yeah, that was
trailer.
one of the, that was one of the good
awesome.
ones.
Yeah.
Can you bring them up? Bring up the Pokemon one.
Oh yeah, that was a good. Yeah.
Yeah. Did you see it? The Pokemon?
Detective Pikachu
No.
or the trailer back in the day.
The April Fools?
Pokemon
Oh,
Snake
this
one?
is. I am lost. What are we referring to?
Where did you think we were? This is. Oh, I want to go through all the April Fools. So this was.
But this was this year. You're saying?
yeah, this
okay,
year.
gotcha.
Pokemon tweeted this one out. Pokemon themselves tweeted this out.
Okay.
Japan's Pokemon. There is sound for this.
Armed with only their in 2024, Pokemon will host a new global tournament. The best of the best from all over the world, armed with only their minds, will challenge the very essence of consciousness in an epic 8.5-hour battle.
I've been dreaming since I was a kid.
I can win this with my eyes closed. Come on.
I have an ace up my sleeve. Are you ready for it?
I've invested more than a third of my life in this, so I can't lose.
Who will be the winner?
Ready, set, sleep.
Someone's already slumbering. Takes an early leap, struggling to fall asleep. Could this be smirking sleep? Gaping mouth sleep. Is standing on the bed. Fallen off the bed. What a comeback!
Pokemon Sleep Champion Tournament 2020.
I mean, that's pretty good.
It's pretty funny.
From Pokemon themselves?
Yeah.
I mean, it already boggles my mind that.
Are you on mic?
That I am, yes.
Okay. I can't even see the
It
microphone.
boggles my mind that Pokemon Go has like tournaments and stuff.
Why?
Because
it's just tapping?
I mean, I just started playing it again, so
Yeah.
But to me, yeah, it's just tapping.
Yeah. Yeah, but you do have to like catch good Pokemon with good stats
Yeah, I
and then
also-
train them.
The preparation, I guess,
Yeah.
is the game.
You got
right?
to teach them moves.
I was curious to know like what it's all about, so I was looking up like live streams of people playing Pokemon Go, and it's literally just dudes sitting at their desk doing location spoofing.
Yeah. Just maxing the
Yeah,
strats.
pretty much, yeah.
You can keep clicking through all of these April Fools. So I don't remember what
The
they all
second
were.
one looked cool.
I wonder what the guy who's like, I've got a trick up my sleeve. Want to see it or something?
Yeah, he never
what's
said,
the
did
trick?
he? I got an ace up my sleeve.
Just
Want to
like
see it?
a sleeping pill. Like,
Yeah,
it's a
it
pretty
always
good
sounds suggestively wrong.
Yeah.
Like, I don't want to know what you're doing. This one I threw in here. I didn't really read it. DLC, how about CLC? And it's just like a bunch of Sega carts stacked on top of each other.
Cartridge loadable content.
Cartridge loadable content. I mean, I love that they did like an old school 90s ad for it.
Yeah, that's fun.
But I mean, no one's getting fooled by that.
No. Is that really the goal with these? I guess I was fooled by the VR one. So
You were fooled
most
by
of
the
them are.
VR one. I mean, you might have been fooled by the Pokemon one. If
I
hadn't.
hope not.
Oh god, this one is so wrong, but kind of funny. So Power World tweeted out that they're adding a Power World dating sim element to the game where you can date the pals.
That's
more than just pals. That's so bad, but pretty funny.
It's funny.
That
This
is
isn't
pretty
even
good.
a joke in 2024, though. I mean, have you seen the dating sims that are out there, like the pigeon one and the KFC one?
Oh, you know, you're not wrong, honestly. This is not that far off from something you'd find uploaded to the eShop every day.
Oh, I like her.
I'll take that one. I'll date that one.
It's a human.
The one before was literally was Pal World. It was Pal number 69. Purposefully.
Listen, I know where.
I want to track what I just said because I guarantee you she's probably like 70. So I take back what I said. I take back what I said. Pals take off their clothes. Oh, he's the black market dealer. You can date the black market dealer? Let's go. Did you see that bottom line there? Pals take off their clothes. An adult version will also be released, 18 plus. Ooh, they're rubbing it. Ooh.
Wow.
We should.
This might be my favorite one just because of how absurd it is.
This is where their Steam riches went for videos like this.
Yeah, true. How do you feel about the success of Power World? You have any take on that?
I don't think I have any like hot takes.
Okay.
Like I haven't played it, so I can't make many judgments on it. That would be wrong. It makes sense. Like the premise is something that makes total sense of why people would jump all over that.
Yeah.
Like Pokemon, but all guns. And
With
such.
guns.
Yeah.
That's the tagline.
Yeah. So I mean, it makes total sense. I actually tried to make a game kind of like that way back that never got off the ground.
Really?
But it was the idea. Yeah, it was like it's Pokemon, but in a world where bad stuff happened. Like there was like like some Pokemon were just like it was actually kind of like Power was some Pokemon were just like miners. There's like horrible like slavery stuff. It was dark and weird.
That does sound dark and weird.
Yeah.
It didn't take off?
No, it did not.
Okay. I think maybe you leaned too far into the depressing.
Yeah.
And there was none of the fun.
Yeah, it was.
I was actually, before we play this next one, I had a question because I mentioned it looked like every game that hits the eShop. Do you have an opinion there with the eShop and Nintendo allowing just a slew of shovelware games? And it seems like there's a new hentai game that gets uploaded like every day. And then you're out there trying to upload a game and combat all of that, the wave and the sea of all of that. Do you have a take there? Or is that just what it is?
I don't know. I guess it's hard for them maybe because the other major stores have moved to allow anyone to publish, and maybe there are like smart business reasons to do that. If everyone else is doing it, there's probably some benefit to it. I mean, certainly you don't have to pay people to vet every game.
Yeah.
Which was always sort of arbitrary anyway. I'm not. I don't have that many hot takes to dish out.
I don't need a hot take. I just want your opinion. I want to know from someone that's worked with it before.
From my perspective, like if you're putting out something, of decent quality, you're not as much competing with.
It'll find its
right?
audience. Yeah.
I guess it's hard just because there's probably a page that shows like new releases, right? I mean, not probably. I've seen it.
Yeah.
And so that your game is going to get lost instantly in there.
Yeah.
And if that was your main way of directing people toward the game, I could see that being kind of shitty to lose that too. to
Yeah,
the
I mean-
hentai game of the day.
I would draw it a comparison to like, you know, me feeling like maybe I spend a few weeks working on this like really big video and then I put it out and then it just kind of gets buried in the sea of like throwaway shorts or,
Yeah.
you know, just like let's plays or whatever is currently just kind of like doing well on the algorithm, you know? So I just wondered if you had a similar experience of, again, fighting an algorithm that I haven't really had experience with.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I guess with like AI tools, people are worried that like the quantity of those kind of shovelware games may increase to like an
true. You could just
unbearable
AI
level.
a game and throw it on the eShop and make a quick buck. I
or
never thought about that.
In theory, I don't think the tools are quite there that you could just like hit the make game button, but you know,
I wouldn't be surprised. Have you
yeah.
seen the new AI tool that's literally you type in like a little prompt like rock falling down a winter stream or something, and then it creates like this perfect 4K video that looks like someone shot something?
Yeah, I have seen that. Yeah.
I mean, I'm sure you
quite
can do
amazing.
some basic coding of like create top-down 2D car racer.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah.
nothing good. But then
yeah.
throw it on the eShop for 99 cents.
For sure. I think even the hentai dating sim thing would probably be like a good match for AI because, you know, it makes static images. And
Yeah,
so
true.
you crank out some of those and, you know, you have a template for the game system that you've already pre-made. It doesn't even have to be AI made, but you just kind of like slap a new coat of paint on with AI art.
So
maybe
new coat of paint's
maybe that'll
boobies,
force
by
the
the way.
issue, and maybe we will have to return to someone at Nintendo vetting the new submissions.
So we might see like a whole wave of more hentai than
Maybe.
ever before. Someone's about to be very happy. Yeah, yes.
Well, I mean, you saw the whole Wonka thing that happened in Scotland, right?
The Wonka.
Yeah, like because the whole thing was that the guy who made that, like pretty much everything that was in that entire like
Was all
exhibit
AI.
was all like AI
Yeah.
generated, like including like the website, all that stuff. So if they could do that for like a live event, I don't see why that wouldn't start happening.
Did
for
you see the
gaming as
Wonka
well.
thing?
I did, yeah.
Yeah.
It was like this like magical looking like
Yeah.
generated image, and then the reality was this horrible like basement.
For anyone
with-
that didn't see it, we can pull it up. You could find it.
I'll look for it.
I'll talk about it while you're finding it. If it's too hard, don't worry.
There's a whole doc on it now too. That came
A documentary?
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah.
it
That's-
came out
I just,
already.
I just wanted.
impressive.
That's cool. I just wanted to see the AI art. But this guy, he was doing this Wonka event, Willy Wonka in real life, inviting kids, ticketed. It was
Yeah.
like expensive, I remember. And all the art, he created all the art with AI, so it looked fantastical. Like you'll go into a Wonka Wonderland, and then you get there, and it's like one chocolate bar, statue, and then a couple of badly dressed Oompa Loompas, and nothing to do. They were giving out one jelly bean per person,
man.
like per kid got one jelly bean in a
so
cup.
sad.
It was like, come on in, here's your jelly bean.
Yeah, and the event advertised that there'd be free candy for the
Free,
kids.
yeah. Well, technically, they didn't pay for the jelly.
Wow.
What
The
is
real
this?
Willy Wonka's rolling in his grave.
Oh, the whole documentary? Oh, okay. Wait, this is just the Wonka movie. You're just playing the new Wonka movie.
Willy's chocolate experience. It's interesting how.
Oh yeah, here's the reality of what it looked like. Just people wandering around. Okay, but where's the AI art?
Well, I mean, everything from the website.
There it is.
There's the Oompa.
What is that? Like meth lab?
With like a meth leg.
So basically, like everything from the website was AI. I saw the whole doc on this too. It was like everything from the website was AI, so they were tricking people into thinking it was going to be this cool thing.
Can I please see the AI?
I can try to find it. Yeah.
Thank you. Is it not at the start of this? I feel like that context is important. Oh, that's it. That is kind of it.
See, how could that be real though?
It's a
Like
cropped
that.
in version of the whole thing, but yeah, it looked
yeah.
like that. It was like, come to Willie's chocolate experience. Willie's.
Yeah, that's also
chocolate
hilarious.
experience. I'm not going to Willie's chocolate experience. That doesn't sound
little
right.
sus.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If his name's not Wonka, I ain't going.
I think it's because of copyright, right? Like the
Yeah,
entire
yeah.
event didn't have like any Wonka like branding on
Yeah.
it because
All
they
of the
can't do
things
that.
though look like they were straight from like a Wonka, like old, like the old movie
Wonka-esque,
almost. Yeah. Like just old props they found in the back of a warehouse or something. We could go back to the April Fool. Unless, wait, were we talking? Did we finish?
I think so.
And
I think
we,
so.
we ended up
Yeah, we're
on
done. See
Willy's
ya.
Chocolate Adventure. Bring up the Elden Ring one was funny. So this is a look at the Elden Ring expansion.
Okay. But not really.
Well, no, it's literally a look at the Elden Ring expansion.
Oh, like okay. Yeah.
You see what's happening?
Yeah.
Oh my god.
For audio listeners, it's just the title Elden Ring expansion expanding on the screen. This is almost your humor, I feel like.
Yeah.
This
I
is
would do
very
that.
Inscription-y, I feel.
I would take that joke and use it.
Steal it.
I feel like I didn't try very hard on this
Who
one.
needs AI when you can theft? What else did I have in there for the April Fools? Oh yeah, there's a limited edition floppy disk, Cyberpunk 2077 coming out. It's delivered straight to your house. It's only 97,619 floppies.
This one got me.
Really?
Because I like collector's edition things, man. So I saw that and I was-
97,000?
Well, no, that's not what got me. It was the idea of having one floppy disk as the thing. I was like, oh, it's sick.
It's gonna fit on one.
That'd be cool. You can put a little SD card in there or
Exactly.
something. Yeah,
Like, it's all a joke.
Big switch inside the floppy.
I saw a picture of it real. Somebody has one of these floppies.
I mean, it wouldn't be hard to make them, right? Just
Probably
get a
just
yellow
made it.
one,
Yeah.
put some art on it.
I know about that.
I would do that.
How old are you?
I'm 31.
Okay, so you remember floppies.
Yes. Well,
How immature are you? Willie's experience, yeah. Now we're in floppy.
I don't believe I ever handled floppies. Like,
Clip that. That's the soundbite. I have handled floppies.
Okay, yeah.
I don't know whose.
doesn't matter.
I don't remember what it was, but I had an old Commodore, and all the games came on floppies. I don't remember what games they were. There was some I tried finding it. You ever remember an old game from your past and you Google it relentlessly, you can't find it?
Yeah.
Someone might be able to help me. And the game is not tubing, believe it or not. But I used to play this game on Commodore, I'm pretty sure. And it was just you in a little tube floating down a river. And it was kind of like Frogger. You had to avoid things on the way down. But it was really old. Tubing looks too new for what I'm picturing.
Yeah.
But I had that on floppy.
Okay.
That's the only the game I remember.
I must have existed in the time of floppies, right? But I think I was, by the time I was actually old enough to be sitting at a computer doing stuff, I think we had already gone on to CDs.
Now, in your games, when people save or they are saving, is there a picture of a floppy? That's
Yes.
It is.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
right?
Well, because the floppy is a key prop in Inscription. There's a there's
true.
there's lore
That
around
is
it.
true. That's funny, actually.
Yeah,
that we
yeah,
kind of
yeah,
circle
yeah,
back
yeah.
around to that.
And you may not have heard of this, but there was an incident where some fans went to dig up the floppy disk that was buried in the videos in the game, and I met them out there, and we.
Oh, really?
Because we filmed it near where I live, and then later there was this Twitch stream where I woke up to find two people were stumbling around the forest, live streaming, looking for the same spot where the disc
That's
was
so
buried, because
cool,
I had
though.
confirmed that we did leave it in the ground where it lay, and then they weren't gonna find it because it's a nondescript patch of forest. There's no markers to.
Wait, so there is a floppy out there somewhere still?
They got it. They dug
Oh,
it up.
really?
Yeah.
Whoa.
But then we did this kind of stunt where I went and found them, and then I kind of off screen, I'm okay, so we're gonna do this thing where I'm gonna pretend to kill you, just go with it. And then on the stream, it's perfectly cut where I kind of oh, you can't have that, and then I attack them, and then the camera cuts right as I come at them.
Oh, that is so cool and so in tune with the game.
Yeah. It was not planned. It was kind of an impromptu thing.
Oh, that's
and
awesome.
It's
Did they get to keep the floppy too?
Yeah, they did.
That is so cool.
How does it feel to have that type of impact? Like more than just
That's
the
a
game's
great question.
But
Yeah.
now I've influenced people in real life aside from this, and I'm a part of this lore.
Yeah.
Well, that was a little scary because I was if they trip on a log or something, I'm somewhat responsible. They're stumbling around. It's not it's Stanley Park in Vancouver, which you would know. And it's like sure, it's like a park in a city, but it's a big park and it's wild in parts. There's not like paths everywhere, and so they're like in the thick of it, like, and it's like always wet in Vancouver, so like there's slippery logs, like they could have easily fallen or something. So I was like, I'm responsible for sending you there, so I can't be.
How long did it take them to find it?
So part of it was that there were coordinates in the video, and I did kind of entertain the idea, like it would be cool if someone went out and found it. But the coordinates I learned were not nearly exact enough. Like I didn't fully grasp how coordinates work because they were not precise enough. So like they had this huge area that it could have been in, and they told me they kind of like shamed me, like it wasn't good enough. Like do better,
next time.
Yeah. So and what was even the question that?
How long did it take them to find?
Oh yeah. How does it feel? How long did it take?
The two questions.
Two questions. A lot to think about.
His was better.
Yeah. It took less time when I showed up because I remembered how to get to the spot.
So you kind of were like,
they would
I
have
wonder
never,
where
I think
it
they
could
would
be,
have never,
guys.
they would have never found it without me, and they would have fallen, and I would have been sued for their death.
That's nice. That is nice that you went out there.
Yeah.
And
then how does it feel? Good.
Good.
No, I don't know. They past the point of the game, you know, making enough money for me to do this as a job, it's definitely a diminishing returns kind of thing. Like my major goal when I was like working on Pony Island and trying to like get into indie games was like, I just really want to do this as my full-time job. And so when I achieved that, everything else after was kind of like, it's cool, but it doesn't change my life in the way that did. Yeah.
I love that.
No, I love it too. I mean, I can't stress how much of an impact it had on me. For like weeks after that, when I was making videos, I was trying to think of how I could like bend the videos or like kind of take the viewer out of the video and make them feel like they're not watching a video, but they're part of the video. My mind was like, I wanted to make a whole video based on the idea of your game, but I didn't know how to do it with just me in my basement. Yeah. So like I didn't come, but I wish I had done something with it. Cause like you remember my Hades video? I did the Hades video where I got stuck in an actual time loop in the video and I kept trying to review the game, but I kept dying and having to start again. Yeah. I wanted to do something like that with Inscription, but I just, my plan for it became too big for me in a basement to do on my own.
That's fair. You know, you talking about Hades does remind me of something of the previous question. It's one thing that Inscription changed for me is that other people in the game industry are interested in like meeting me and talking to me. Like the developers of Hades reached out and stuff like that. So I think I think my previous answer, I wanted to say that did change with Inscription prior to my other games. And that is quite cool and a little daunting and scary, you know, to have the people you really admire being like, hey, like, you know, how's it going? A good game you made and stuff. And I'm like, oh. But yeah, so that's been cool.
Yeah, you definitely, I said it earlier, but you have a very unique style and it's definitely attention grabbing and thought provoking. It's games that you finish and then you think about for a long time after. And then when someone brings it up, you're like, all right, let's talk about it. You've played it kind of thing. Like a good, like, thriller movie or like a movie with twists and turns. Like when I find out someone's watched everything all at once or whatever, I'm like, oh good, let's talk about it.
Yeah. That was awesome.
Actually showed my friend that movie the other day and he loved it. We watched that and Puss in Boots.
That's a good
movie. Have you seen the new Puss in Boots movie?
Strangely enough, I have.
It's
not
so
something
good.
I would have normally gone for, but I did like it.
I've never seen any of the other ones. This is my second time watching it. When I made him watch it, I was still crying just as much. I thought it was better the second. Have you seen it?
No, not yet.
Dude, it's so cool.
Yeah, I've heard it's very, very good.
It's one of the best stories in an animated movie I've seen.
Yeah.
The animation is
I remember
insane.
I was like, this is, I have like been sleeping on, you know, how good some of these 3D animated movies are. That was one of the thoughts I had. Yeah.
I do want to see Kung Fu Panda 4 for what it's worth.
I don't know if that's going to have the same appeal to me as
I just like Jack Black.
Yeah. No, the Puss in Boots movie was like legit.
Yeah.
Like it's like starts as fun and goofy and then very quickly gets very real. It tackles a lot of like anxiety, depression.
It's like Barbie too, right? Like everyone thought Barbie was going to be this like kids movie and
yeah.
This, like, weird psychological hell that this doll person is going through. So it's crazy.
Let me see what else I had in my notes for things that we that I wanted to cover because there was some other things. Oh, Nintendo arrested someone.
Oh. Was it the kid from the Game Awards?
Yeah,
because they need to get that guy.
But still, I do have to get. Where'd that guy go? He just disappeared.
He's on the run, I think.
So you remember E? You remember when Bob and I were talking about how the Tokyo Game Show Awards got canceled, I think last year, because of a BOMB scare. I don't want to say it. Someone made a threat against the building. They arrested the guy.
It was probably that kid, honestly.
It probably was the kid. Yeah, it was the same guy. He's a menace. Yeah. He's everywhere. I mean, that's really it. I don't really know what to go on about.
I like the image that they used in this article.
Yeah, I thought that was a bit. I thought that was a bit distasteful. I gotta be honest. I saw that. I was like, really? I don't.
It's a serious subject.
It's kind of serious of a subject.
He fit his whole chin into the bars.
It would have been more distasteful if it was like King Babam.
Oh yeah.
Oh my god. No, I just wanted to close that loose end because we talked about that last year. Apparently they did catch the guy and they arrested him. Yeah. I was gonna read it. No. I said I was gonna read it, but I think that's pretty self-explanatory. I don't know if we have to go through the whole thing. This I thought E would find cool. Have you ever been in Japan?
Yes, actually, somewhat recently. It was at the end of last year. Was the first time I went.
So cool, right?
I really liked it.
Where did you go?
So it was part of a larger trip where some friends and I went to also Southeast Asia. So I didn't get to spend as much time as I wanted. We were only in Tokyo, and it was about 4 days. But it left a very strong impression from that short time in that one place.
You got to go back because 4 days is not enough.
Yeah.
Did you happen to? It probably is not a important thing to do in 4 days. But did you see UNIQLO? Is that what it's called? UNIQLO?
I don't think so.
Right downtown Tokyo. That's the big one.
Yeah. It's like this big clothing store.
Okay,
I guess it's a Japanese clothing store.
They have them here too.
Yeah, we do have them here, but not that frequent. Anyway, they're doing a Zelda drop, and it looks sick. Okay. And I thought we should show off and bring them up. And I'm kind of bummed about it because when we were there, they had a lot of cool collaborations on their shirts, but none that really appealed to me.
Yeah.
If this was there,
oh yeah,
I would have lost my mind. Oh, I can't really even see that.
They'll bring these here. They just did a Metal Gear collaboration.
Oh, that one's cute.
I have the Mario UNIQLO stuff, and it's like Mario and Luigi.
Yeah,
like the
oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
It's awesome.
Go back to the last one. I wanted to explain it for the audio listeners. So this one has from Tears of the Kingdom, the Korok with the backpack coming out of the pocket. He's hiding in it. And then there's another little Korok to the side of the pocket poking his head out from the side. That one, awesome. That one I want now. There's several. You can keep going. I don't like this one. This one screams like, and maybe that's a vibe.
This one screams. You can buy this at the Nintendo store.
Yeah, this screams like 90s, like
but also just like a normal graphic tee that you could find anywhere.
This
that one's cool.
This one's my favorite.
Oh, that's a blood moon. Dude, that's sick.
I like the orange. The orange is a nice choice. You got a blood moon, the silhouette. And then I think that's just the hand badge, the the ultra hand badge. Is that all of them? That one's kind of basic. Oh,
that's sick.
That one is sick.
I love when they're not symmetrical.
Please lend him your power. Oh my God. So to describe this one for the audio listeners, it's that image of Link diving after Zelda at the start of Tears of the Kingdom when she falls, but it's like in silhouette and it's coming over the shoulder and falling down. And then the please lend him your power is like in between their hands, separating them. Dude, that is.
What is this? This
sick.
one's the sign.
Yeah.
Oh, that's cool.
That's cool too. Oh, I bet if you pull it, you'll see something.
He's probably in the pocket. The sign guy is probably in the pocket.
That's cool.
Are you a big fan of Tears of the Kingdom? Did you play?
Yeah, I liked it a lot. I actually I love the sign guy. I thought that was just a really smart idea. How it was like simple. Here's a simple problem. Prop up this sign and then go nuts. I did find he was really picky and annoying about like what he would like. It's basically standing up. Come
basically
on,
there.
like,
I know.
But yeah, I really liked it. I played Breath of the Wild and I never like fully like got into it. And then this one was the one where I it fully grabbed me. And a lot of people were like not as stoked about the building, or I guess some people were, but I loved that. I thought it was so amazing. Cool. Yeah, I always felt that like anything is possible if I only was smart enough. You know, like it really did feel like to sound cliche, that my imagination was the limit, which is
It really was.
a rare thing to achieve, I think, in a game.
And someone like you with an imagination so wild, I would like to see what you made and what your limits actually were.
It's probably quite disappointing, honestly. Like, a lot of time I'm like, let's do the glider with the jets again. That worked.
Yeah, Tears of the Kingdom was awesome. The sign guy really, for me, was such a staple moment in that game that was like, you can solve this 1,000 different ways.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter how you solve it as long as you do it.
Yeah.
And it reflected the entire game as a whole. It was such a simple little slice of what the entire game was. And also, everyone's going to solve it a different way. And that goes for the whole game as well. Yeah. I want that Sun Guy shirt, yeah. All right, I think we're at the end of the show. The only other couple of things I had that I'll maybe we can talk about in the bonus episode. Are you staying for the bonus episode?
Happy to.
We have.
He's here all week, so
he's here all week. True. You got where you got to be.
Yeah.
The Xbox handheld we haven't talked about. There's a Pikachu controller getting a price drop. Man, we have to talk about that. And then there's big shakeups at Nintendo and how they're like structuring their game development teams. They're moving away from like contracted hires and really getting rid of a lot of their contracted hires and then hiring some of them on board.
Okay.
That might be interesting to talk about with you.
Yeah, sure.
And I do have a special announcement for the bonus episode, just for Patreons. I'm assuming we're at time, by the way. Yeah, Okay. Hey, did you notice anything about me?
That's cool.
Yeah.
Shit, there's the squirrel. Okay.
Yeah. I didn't know if you noticed.
I didn't see it at first. I didn't look closely enough, but that's awesome. Where'd you get that?
I was waiting. This is my shirt.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm selling you.
Oh, sweet. No, that's cool. I'm honored to be among all these other icons. Yeah.
You know how I said you were in my top 10 games of the year?
Yeah.
So I had my wife as like an artist. And she took a collage of all of my favorite eShop games.
Yeah.
And threw it on a collage, and we sold it as a T-shirt on my merch store. It's also got on the back. It's got like tour dates.
Oh, nice.
Of where you even
Vancouver. I see.
Yeah, I was gonna say Vancouver because the first few episodes I started filming in Vancouver.
Okay, and this is in the past. This tour that you've done.
So by tour, it's my eShop series that I've been doing for the last 5 years, and these dates are just where I was living at the time of making the videos.
Yeah, that's fun.
So I started making them in Vancouver. I made some in Texas. Now I'm making them in Pennsylvania, which is where I live.
Cool.
I drive here. It's a long drive.
How long
but
is
yeah,
that?
this is all my favorites, and actually she was very clever because I gave her all of it. I gave her the mock-up of this that I made in Photoshop just with like the actual pictures. And I was like, can you draw it in your own style? Yeah. And I just gave her the word inscription because I was like, I don't know what to do.
It's a tricky one. It doesn't have like an obvious mascot.
And she was like, well, I'll just do the squirrel card. And I was like, that's
Can't
so
lose with
smart.
that.
You're so smart. So yeah, just thought you would like that. I wore it for you. Well, thank you so much for coming in.
Oh, yeah.
You're an
Happy
absolute joy. I had so much fun talking to you.
Thank you so much.
Really, everybody needs, if you can't tell how much of a fan I am of your game Inscription, everybody needs to go and check out that game. It's on every console, I'm pretty sure, right?
Yeah.
Of course.
Yeah.
Steam might be your preferred way, or Switch, but since our audience is Nintendo. I've recommended it already, so there's a good chance you've already played it since how much I've talked about it. But if you haven't yet, please go and buy Inscription. It is such a fun, mind-bending journey of an experience that you will think about weeks to years later. Like, I'm not even kidding. It's like one of those movies that you still think about now. It's one of those in game form.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. Also 10 out of 10 on Steam. So, I mean, I'm not wrong.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for coming in.
Yeah.
We'll leave your Twitter down below.
Cool, thanks.
Wish list, your new game, Pony Island 2. Is there anything else that you want to push or promote?
I don't think so.
Okay.
Yeah, I think you hit all the bases.
Good, I'm glad. Thank you so much for coming in.
Yeah,
and now we
it
get
was
to
a
talk
blast.
more in the bonus episode.
Hell yeah.
All right, guys. We'll see you guys next week. Patreons, we'll see you in like 5 minutes. Bye-bye.